Shout out who?
Shout out IU, I guess. I don't know. Producer Eric's
Ayuk?
already. Oh, Ayuk. Shout out Ayuk. That's what I heard. All right. What's up, everybody? We are live. BTB Analytics back with you. Week 15 of the NFL slate. 3 more. Right. 15, 16, 17. Sorry. 4 more if I can count.
Plus playoffs.
4. Yeah. I guess plus playoffs. That's true too. So yes, 4 more games. 4 more weeks up, and for the rest of this season now. It's been a long one. It's been a fun one. You guys know kind of where we're at, or have been for the year. But as each week goes, a little bit, we kind of crystallize, potentially where the model will fall at the end of the season here. So 35-22 year to date is where the model's at 61.4%. So very obviously in a favorable spot. We've been profitable for quite a long time. Got a lot of volume this week in week 15 here. So we'll touch on that a little bit later towards the end of the show here. But yeah, Seth, we got a lot of good matchups this week to break down. A couple of really big, I think, playoff implications for a couple of the surprising teams. So we'll get to those, but let's start because we got several good ones. We don't got off the numbers, but we're gonna give some free game out at the end of the show as well on a free model play. So let's do the dance. An AFC East matchup here: Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots kicking us off this week. So market standpoint, Seth, looks like it's open -1 in favor of the Bills. Still largely there. You can find some 1.5s if you do want to be a New England backer here. But our model basically makes it a pick 'em at the current prices. So we don't have any edge in this one. But I got a question for you, Seth, kind of open-ended. How much do you trust New England? They are 11-2, so their record is what it is, right? Like,
yeah,
to quote Bills Parcells, if you will. But it's been kind of a weird, wild year for them. They let us down in the futures market, of course. But I want to get your high level take on how much do you trust this team? Is their record reflective of who this team actually is, in your opinion?
Yeah, so trust is hard. I don't know how to kind of gauge that or speak data into that, but I think they are probably an 11.5 team, and the market also supports that. I mean, right now their over under in season is 13.5, so the market believes they're going to win another 2 games here. So,
okay, I kind of started with that because I want to strictly, like, I think this team is largely where it's at because of Drake May. I don't want to bury the lead 100%. There, but I just want to list off real quick the quarterbacks that this team has faced so far. Okay. Geno, Tua, Rodgers, Bryce Young, Dylan Gabriel, Spencer Rattler, Cam Ward, Penix, Baker Mayfield, Fields, and Flacco. Okay,
don't forget Allen.
Well, yes, facing Buffalo and facing Allen is going to be the only time this year where they faced a top 13 QB by EPA. So it's been a wild slate that they faced QB wise. So that's kind of where I was going with that, because again, Drake May has been balling out. There's no doubt about it, right? But do you think Josh Allen has enough to kind of bring this team back to reality a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think, interestingly enough, I think Josh Allen's not really the problem here. Buffalo's defense is the problem. We have Buffalo as the number 2 overall offense in our database, and New England actually number 9, where Buffalo's weak is on the defensive side of the ball. They're number 16 on defense. New England is number 10. So when we look at that, to me, that's the liability. When we look at QB play, though, you're right. Allen is number 8 in the last 10 games. Drake May number 4. So Drake May is balling. I mean, just to be clear on that list, they beat Allen and the Bills already. So I think we have to give credit where credit is due, which they have already literally done this before. Now, our model makes it a pick 'em. That's the raw model here. We regress to the market. We basically are right on market at +1, -1. Mm-hmm. Buffalo slightly being favored here. We also, May has a small data problem. He has very few starts. When you use his whole sample size, it really likes Buffalo in this game. When you delineate rookie versus non-rookie starts, then it starts to get this closer to this pick number. New England is interesting because they are a pass first team. This is a team that's basically all in on May. That is true. Buffalo on the other side is a little bit more balanced. They're actually a run first team 3.6 run rate over expected. So for me, I kind of think at this point in the season, I would tend to trust, if you, in your words, Buffalo a little bit more. I don't think that we know what we're going to get in New England. We've had some fluky kind of games from them, but they have been elite. They have won 11 games, so they've been less fluky than they have been fluky.
Yeah. If anything, they've been consistently fluky enough to win 11 games.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned earlier, New England's number 4 team in terms of pass rate over expected. So they're gonna let Drake May fail forward, basically. So it's gonna be in his hands. But yeah, Buffalo is coming into this one. What is their record? 9-4, I think. If that's right. I think we have it on the graphic. I think they're 9-4. So obviously, to your point about them having beat Buffalo already, like this is huge seedings. I think if New England wins this, who's right behind them? Who's right behind them in terms of number 2 in the AFC record wise, off the top of your head?
I don't know.
Any idea? Okay. But yeah, I think if they can win another AFC matchup here, they're going to have a pretty solid stranglehold on the.
I don't know.
Yeah, is anyone else even at 10 wins? Jaguars, maybe. That's wild.
I was gonna say the
What a
Jags.
wild-
I think if the Jags win this next game,
Okay.
and yeah, they're in prime position for that.
What a wild world.
That is a wild world.
So much of the recent history has just been Kansas City right there. I don't know. One other stat here: Buffalo is better on the offensive play-by-play when we look at success rate. Buffalo is number 5th, and New England is number 11th. When we look at drive level statistics, New England is 4th in Echo rate versus 10th for Buffalo. So interesting stat there. I thought that was, I don't know, quite interesting here that New England sustaining drives better than Buffalo, but on a per play basis, actually Buffalo is better. So again, another reason to potentially want to bet Buffalo here. Backs against the wall. This game is in New England. Obviously, huge implications from a playoff standpoint. I don't do what you will. Do what you will with this. I think if you're going to bet New England, you got to just take money line. I mean, the one is meaningless. And if you're going to bet Buffalo, you might as well just take that money line as well. The one here is meaningless as well on the spread.
Yeah,
Broncos. That makes sense.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay, all right, sounds good. So yeah, it should be a fun one. I'm excited to see what Drake May can do if he can kind of repeat that performance that they had the first time around. So, all right, we're not going far though in terms of conference wise. We're sticking in the AFC for the next one, Seth. So, AFC West this time, however, LA Chargers going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Pinnacle and Bookmaker, Seth, had this one at 5 at open. Rec books were kind of split, or are kind of split now for 5.5s. I see some 4.5s out there as well. So our model number here makes it currently KC minus 4.5. So essentially right on market for us. So we're not seeing any edge in this matchup. But let's go back to week 1 between these two teams, Seth, because we were on KC? Yeah, we were on KC week 1. And that they obviously didn't cover it. In fact, KC never even led in this game. And I remember in real time thinking like this is clearly a one-sided kind of matchup, you know?
Yeah.
And really these teams have been on a relatively 2 different paths at this point. The Chiefs they're not going to make the playoffs if they lose this game. They have to win out, and a few other things I think probably have to go their way as well for that to happen. So you mentioned last with the Bills and Patriots, like backs against the wall is exactly what Chiefs and KC and Mahomes is up against. And for what that's worth, I don't know, but maybe we can get into that discussion because in our database, right, Mahomes is still number 1 QB by EPA in his career as well as the last 10. So he's balling out. KC is also one of the top pass heavy teams in the league. I think they're number 1 they might be number 1. Sorry, I don't have that written down in terms of pass rate over expected. So they still have Mahomes and they still have a chance, right? This is still a 1-score spread. But yeah, because where our numbers make the model and just how these two teams have diverged since the season starts, like how do you think this one goes, and what would be your what would be most likely outcome, you think?
I mean, have they actually or are we just more that the first outcome was kind of variance? I don't really know here, but our raw model number is 5. The market's now at 4.5, 5.5. So I think we're kind of basically right on market with the model. We thought that would be what the right price should be in this first matchup. But I will point out, Kansas City was missing a number of offensive pieces. And to your point, the one thing they've gotten on track is clearly their offense. Kansas City's number 3 in our database as far as offensive side of the ball. You already called it out. Mahomes is the number 1 QB from an EPA per play in the last 10 games. So he's balling out as well. But I will say, what is the one Achilles heel of this Kansas City team this year? It's their defense, and it's when their offense goes up against good defenses. And I don't really know what we're getting on the offensive side of the ball from the Chargers, but I do know we're getting a good defense. LA Chargers in our database, number 4. Kansas City, again, they're slowed by good defenses. LA Chargers defensive success rate, number 5. LA Chargers defensive equal rate, number 9. So they're going up against another good defense, just like we saw with Houston, and they struggled there. So for me, I don't know. I kind of want to believe that first outcome a little bit more. Now, pricing that all out, our model kind of gets right at where this market is.
Yeah.
But remember how the Chargers won that game, that in that first game, it was throwing the ball. In fact, they were the number 1 pass rate over expected team after week 1. They're not
like
necessarily
first quarter of the season almost. They were passing a lot.
Yeah. I mean, but definitely after that first game, I mean, they were by far and away. And I remember being on the show, like saying this team is very different than, the past teams. I don't know if that's if that's the case anymore. They are now negative 0.005. So 0.5% run rate over expected. They're basically a kind of neutral team, where Kansas City is the number 1 pass rate over expected team, 4.8% pass rate over expected. Kansas City is just throwing early and often. To me, the Chargers should be able to stop them. They had a pretty good showing against Philly there, a lot of turnovers. If they could do that to Mahomes. And this Kansas City defense seems to be the Achilles heel, number 18 in our defense. And I don't know if they can actually slow anybody. And that's really why I think they've been losing these games.
Yeah, I think so. Sonny said, just give me the under. And to that point, like you mentioned it too, like the LA Chargers defense is been balling out, but the LA offensive line, you saw how basically non-existent it was. Herbert was fighting for his damn life last week against Houston. So if KC can generate even anywhere, half as much as pressure on him at that point, to Sonny's point, this has been bought down 41.5.
And we're right on 41.5. That's exactly where we make it. So I think you missed the under train. Again, bet early.
Yeah. So you could have got 43.5. Maybe you did, Sonny. Maybe you did.
Maybe you did. Yeah, actually, we don't know. Maybe Sonny's a sharp out here. Yeah. If he's watching us, he probably is.
Shout out, Sonny. Yeah. So I think the market, to your point, Seth, is kind of not doesn't have a ton of confidence in either the offense to be consistently successful, but more directly like those defenses to step up.
Yeah. Can I ask like an age-old question, which is like, when you think about investing, when you even think about betting, when you think about these like really big opportunities, you're like, yeah, it was like so clear. And like, I would have bet my house on this. Is this one of those situations where we are getting the cheapest price we'll ever get for Kansas City on like futures, win the Super Bowl, make the playoffs? Like these are deeply, deeply discounted Kansas City numbers, especially relative to the beginning of the season. Should we be thinking like, yeah, these are bargains, or just like anything now when it's here, it feels way more real and less probable than you think it does when, the house isn't on fire.
Right.
I mean, this is an interesting price, right? I think this closed at -3 week 1. So is Kansas City 2 points better than the Chargers and they're not going to make the playoffs?
I mean, so I'm trying to find it right now because you mentioned it, and I don't know what their current odds are to make
playoffs.
Yeah, to make the playoffs, KC is plus 530.
Yeah, like that was like probably minus. It was like minus 150 or something preseason.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they were the Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah,
going into that Denver game.
Into this year. Yeah, exactly.
No, right. Going into that Denver game, they were still the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they weren't even in the playoffs.
So, to your point, like I don't feel confident enough to take something's on that.
Something's wrong here.
People are already bookmarking. People are already bookmarking, stuff all over Twitter. Like,
but how can Kansas City be this worst team, but 2 points better than the Chargers than week 1? So one of those things is not it's not true.
Yes, we shall see. Are you thinking about taking a position? Or are you?
No, I just on this game, like I think you just have to like go all in on fading Kansas City. Like the NFL is undefeated in regressing to the mean. And so it doesn't matter who you are. You know,
Yeah.
even Tom Brady had bad seasons. Like
Right.
you will regress to the mean at least on a couple of seasons. This is, I don't know, maybe one of those seasons. They do seem to have the Chargers number every game except that game we bet on them week 1.
Of course.
But I don't know. I'm just curious on. I mean, the Chargers defense is good, and I think that could be enough. But to your point, that offensive line for the Chargers is decimated. But I mean, Philly's defensive line is good, so it's not. I don't know that we're buying. You're getting the same defensive line from the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
+5 seems intriguing to me. 5.5. I don't know. I'm just. This is not. These teams are not 2.5 points better or worse than we were week 1. I refuse to believe that.
Yes. All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna you let the good people know. You let me know if you decide to take a position, because I'm gonna be otherwise sitting on the sidelines, literally, metaphorically, figuratively, all of it. So should be, because either way, I'll be tuned in though, because Chiefs lose, and that'll be first time I think
They're out.
9 years.
First time he will have never made the conference championship game. Think about
Okay,
that.
see that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, all right, Mahomes, it's inevitable that you regress to the mean. So, it is written. All right, we got a couple more games to talk about though before we get to give out a free model pick here at the end of the show, which we're 6-3 on those, by the way, just in case anyone's
Nice.
keeping track. So yeah,
I mean, the model's over 60% this season. 61.4. There you go.
yeah, shout
I mean,
out. So
college basketball's humming. College football, we ended up with like 110 games. We were at like 58%. The models have printed this year.
it has been we have double dipped. Yes, we have, very much so. It's looking, to be I guess slightly humbler, if you will, but our futures the futures model, for the NFL is
We'll see.
not
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go look at the markets. Guess what forecasted wins for
Se-
Saints?
4.5.
5. And the market's right back at 7.5, which is what we bet for
For Miami.
So.
All right, yeah, some things got to go right,
we
but
cashed Minnesota, so we could go 3.
I'm trying to reverse jinx this here, so you're not letting me know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Model
All
model stay printing.
Yes, it does. It does indeed. All right, we got a couple more games though to break down before we get to the model play here. So next one, this is the matchup of the week of the year. Actually, this Colts and Seahawks. I just, because I mentioned it every time, I'll mention it here, but this opened largely at 10.5, and obviously when news progressed, this is now at 14 in a couple spots, and we all know
matters. It's at 14.
Yeah, at Makers, right?
Yeah.
And grandfather time himself, yes, Philip Rivers coming back, potentially starting. There's already lines for his yards. There's already a line and a market for comeback player of the year for him. You can bet him like plus 1,800 or
but you can't bet the no. But you can't bet the no.
Right, yeah. Stay smart, kids. Yeah, so obviously wild situation, right? So a guy who's 44, hasn't played in 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, potentially coming in to start an NFL game. With Rivers, for what it's worth, Seth, we did kind of run it with him as the quarterback, but again, there's no such thing that exists for. Let's account for the fact that he hasn't played in 5 years. He's going up against.
He's
he's 44 years old. Like he's a grandfather, right? That is actually not the first time this has happened. Do you know that?
Oh no, I didn't know.
There's been 4 other instances where a grandfather has played in the NFL. Last time was Brett Favre.
Grandfather can be tricky because of just when people have kids. A better stat here is the starting tight end for the Colts is younger than Rivers' oldest son.
See, shit's so this is
that's a better data point to me. I mean, literally, his son could be the tight end.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a really interesting game. I want to break it down. I want to spend a couple of minutes on this because this to me is a potential roar. This is a potential back up the truck, unload the clip. But I want to walk through it all because I think we've been talking about this for the last couple of days. This is an interesting position. We spoiler alert, we bet this 11.5. We kind of saw this news coming. It was bubbling. Our model liked it when we found out Leonard was going to play. But the interesting thing here I want to talk about is a couple of important stats. So Colts are the number 12th overall. Sorry, Seattle is Colts are the number 1 offense in our database, I believe. This is basically an unsustainable situation. Colts are number 3 in offensive success rate and number 2 in offensive echo rate. So now that's with Daniel Jones starting.
Yep.
Then you go and look on the other side of the ball. Seattle is our second overall best defense in our database, and they're going up against and Seattle's the number 4 success rate and number 7 echo rate. Really, really, really good defense. We saw what they did against a true rookie in the Minnesota starter. So you take one of the best offenses, you lose their quarterback, and then you put in basically a true rookie. These offensive numbers are nowhere near sustainable. These are nowhere near what will be average play for that quarterback. So you have that going against you. Then you have a rookie, which our model already liked. If you like, and then you kind of pull back the layers here. Rippon could be starter. Riley Leonard could be a starter. Or what I think is the least probable is Rivers is the starter. Why I think that's the least probable is he's signed to the practice squad. As long as he's not elevated to the active squad, he doesn't have to restart his Hall of Fame calculation. He's still eligible in like the next year. Only if basically he's on the active roster and plays in a game will the clock restart. Why that's important? They changed the rules 3 years ago, now 2 or 3 years ago, where you can have an emergency quarterback that's on your practice squad. I believe that's why they signed him. They have Rippon and they have Riley Leonard. So even if Riley Leonard cannot play, I think Brett Rippon will actually start, and Rivers is the emergency quarterback. And unless he has to be in that game, then he doesn't, he's just basically getting paid to be on the practice squad and be the emergency quarterback. So I give all that context here. Our model thinks it's a slam dunk play at 13.5. We already bet an 11.5. If Rippon or Leonard start, it makes the raw number 10.5 if Rivers starts. But that is assuming you're getting his average play over his career. I don't understand how that would be possible. And then on top of that, are we going to get average play for Rivers? Okay, maybe there's a miracle out there. They're going to just, inject him with TRT or something. But how are you going to go up against the second best defense in the NFL, and your offense right now is humming basically the number 1 overall offense? To me, there's a mismatch here on what is actually capable for the Colts. You can see the market is agreeing at market makers. This is 14. The retail books are begging you. They're taunting us. They're saying, hey, fuckers, you sure you want to bet this? And I kind of do. I kind of really want to. Now, the only hesitation here is we have one conflicting data point, which is Rivers. If he starts, we make the number 10.5. So, at 13.5, that's not a great bet.
No. Yeah. So, again, talk about uncertainty and the possible outcomes here. So, yes, potentially 3 different guys. I haven't heard. I looked earlier today, but I haven't seen anything as far as injury news with those guys and what that situation may be. Right. But the fact remains, there is a non-zero chance that Philip Rivers starts a game.
Yeah, it's non-zero for sure. But I think it's pretty close to 0.
Yeah. You might be right. It might be much ado about nothing when it's all said and done here. But either way, whichever of it is of those 3 guys that starts, I think your points, and the market is obviously seeing the same thing, right? It's not gonna matter almost. This has been bought up crazy. It's potentially gonna go through the 14 here. So I don't know how many has Riley Leonard ever started a game?
No, he's never started a game. He played in that game against divisional rival. We said it on the show. I don't know what it is about Duval and the Colts. There's some
there's some voodoo or something for sure.
Yeah. And of course, Daniel Jones goes down with an Achilles, and he comes in. They dominate that game. The Jags dominated that game.
So I just too many data points for me to see.
And the Jags defense is not that good.
Yeah, because more granular on Seattle's defense. There are number 2 defense in the database, but specifically they're number 4 in defending the pass, and they generate they're number 8 in pressure and sack rate. Philip Rivers ain't, let's just assume he's out there for a minute, right? He's not running anywhere.
Yeah, and the whole thing that they're saying, I think the angle here is, I guess Philip Rivers is a high school head coach, and his son plays quarterback. And he has installed this same offense. And I guess he was having weekly calls with the head coach of the Colts, and that's, I guess, the natural fit here. He was already on the Colts from a GM standpoint, and then he had been, I guess, already familiar with this offense on a week-to-week basis. Eric says Shane Steichen and Philip go way back. Oh, to Chargers days. Okay, fair enough. I don't know. This feels to me, to put in perspective, in 2020 season, there was a game where the NFL basically punished the Denver Broncos for not following COVID protocols, and all of their quarterbacks were not able to start. That line against the Saints closed at 16.5. So I don't know. I mean, that's the other data point that I keep thinking about. I mean, we're not too far from that territory where they didn't even have a quarterback in that game, and it closed at 16.5. Now I can't remember how good the offense for the Saints was. So like, it's a lot easier to cover if you have a really good offense. And quite frankly, Seattle's offense hasn't like been some barn burner. I think they're number 12 in our database.
Yeah, inconsistent. Yeah, they've been up and down, but yeah, I think they're about league average at this point. Yeah.
So I don't know. So are you contemplating the double dip? People in the chat here, anybody like?
Nah, no one said in the chat. Yeah, they're just giving, Philip Rivers is going to have another kid. What's the over under on that line? I don't know, but I don't feel confident enough basically to take to double dip. Because the QB situation, if I guess I've been blind, or I've been I won't say my head in the sand a little bit, but all the news I've seen come out, I had presumed that Rivers was going to be in line to start. And if that's not actually the case, my opinion about this game, and surprisingly, I think the market's opinion of this game might change as well. So I'm not saying it'll go back to 10.5 or whatever, but it might get bought back a point or so. So no, I'm going to stay. I'm comfortable where we're at and the number we got, obviously. But let's just hope what the most likely outcome happens here, because fluke shit. This game just screams fluke shit. Just screams it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you move on to the next. I don't know. It feels like a roar. It feels like a what the fuck is this?
Yes. This could be one of those generational wealth building opportunities.
Rippon only has, from what I can see, six starts, and he's like a journeyman. He's never been the week to week starter. He's just been plugged and played. What's getting me here is that Seattle's defense is good. I think that exacerbates the problem here.
Yeah, no, agreed. So I don't know what I got to do to watch this game. I'm gonna figure out a way. I don't got the ticket, but this game will be on in my house, and I will watch this. Oh, damn, it's gonna be fascinating. So
I don't know.
All right.
I
know.
That's where's it fade? Is this like a fade? Like once it gets 14.5, you're just like like I said, a no quarterback game was 16.5.
Right.
Now it didn't cover. The Saints covered that game. They did cover the 16.
A 14.5 would be the best middle opportunity that I would probably encounter in.
But you're gonna kick yourself when this game ends 21-0. Like it's just like so clear that
potentially.
How will the Colts score? I mean, and then you're the pricing of this game, you're discounting it for the quarterback, but there's no way that offense is that efficient. We were already saying last week, I was saying Daniel Jones bubble indicator. I mean, it couldn't have gotten literally more popped of a bubble, literally and metaphorically. And I don't know. This seems to be like almost even more leverage. Like this is even worse. You have a way worse quarterback. How can he sustain those numbers? So
the spread has moved 4 points. This is my last point here, but your spread has moved 4 points. Basically, the total has only moved 1 point down. Interesting, noteworthy. So anyway, yeah, I have too much unknown nonsense, with this one. So I'm just going to be tuned in, like I said. But this could be, when we look back, a generational wealth building opportunity that we missed out on. Who knows?
I haven't missed out on it yet. I'm still very much
contemplating.
I mean, I just
diversify.
And you're getting a pretty. What's interesting to me is you're getting this pretty big market move here at Market Makers. It's at 14. The 13.5s have been bought but the retail is literally middle fingers to us saying like, you're dumb, you don't know shit. Take that 13.5. I dare you.
Yeah, I know.
And not even necessarily, a lot of them are juiced. Some like they're like literally multiple 110s, 13.5 110s, knowing that the market's 14.
Yeah. I know. All right. If it were, yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. We'll see. Never say never, but right now I'm comfortable with where we're at. So, all right, one more matchup before we get to free model play of the week here, and this one should be a good one as well. Lions going up against the Rams. 8-5 Lions and the 10-3 Rams here. This largely opened at 4.5 in favor of the Rams, Seth, but has moved to 5.5. But one market maker earlier was at 6. Let me see if that's still the case here. So, which one was it? Oh, 2 of them now. Yes, we got 2 of the makers at 6. So some buying here towards LA. Total has also, for what it's worth, been bought up 3 points. Now currently that 55 is the median. So yeah, Seth, this team, this LA Rams team, is the most successful team in turn. I mean that literally, but also they consistently generate positive EPA plays. Number 1 team in success rate offensively. But what doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, is how good their defense is and has been to date as well. I think, in our database, they're the number 3 overall defense and then have the number 2 success rate allowed on defense. So this is definitely a tall task for Detroit here in this one. So do you kind of like and agree with what the market is buying so far in this one?
Yes and no. I think that, well, I guess no. We make this number 4.5. Market's been buying LA. I think that you're starting to get into some territory. We're gonna have to start considering buying the Lions. I do think the market's got this wrong on buying up the total. I think the under is the play here, under 55.5. The numbers are a little bit deceiving. You have to pull back the layers a bit. Detroit, number 6th offense. LA, as you said, number 7th offense. Both these teams are really good offenses. That's why people are going to think the over. Now, why I think people are going to be misled. LA, as you said, number 3 defense in our database. Detroit, number 22nd. However, when we look at really, really important play-by-play statistics and drive level statistics, defensive success rate is number 7 and echo rate number 8 defense for Detroit. This is actually a top 10 success rate defense for Detroit and a top 10 echo defense for Detroit. I think points are going to be a premium in this game. Under 55, I think, is the move here. Goff is playing very well. Obviously, MVP considerations, number 6 in our last 10 games, and Goff is number 12. So again, I don't know if you're going to. You have a lot of ways you can cover this under. If LA is so good, they could blow the Lions out. If Detroit's defense is a little bit better than I think people are giving them credit for, I think that limits the possessions there. Under 55, I think, is the move.
Okay. Yeah, and model shows some value on that number as well. So how about a little bit of other free game here? Yeah, under 55, we make the number 53 currently. So we're showing a little bit of value to the under there. But further to that, like LA's defensive, or to be more specific with LA's defense, they're number 3 in rush EPA allowed and number 6 in rushing success rate allowed. Detroit is a run-first team schematically on purpose. They're number 27th pass rate over expected. So Detroit is going to leverage Gibbs, leverage Montgomery,
eat the clock.
And I think I'm on Rob played last week, so I doubt he's an issue to go this week. But that's one of those strength on strength or style on style kind of a things. Like, is Detroit going to stick with that, or are they going to try to implement some game plan variants here to try to counteract what LA does so well? I don't know, but yeah, I think the under. I get the angle, and this one also feels to me because maybe buying at the top situation too. So I haven't taken it yet. But yeah, the more we were talking about it or thinking about it too, that's going to be added to my card for sure this weekend. Under,
Detroit,
I think
or under.
The under, sorry.
55.5, yeah, is I think the number you got to grab to get the value here.
Yeah, you can get minus 115 at a couple of rec books, 55.5. So, all right, I like it. Yeah, I think that's the game right now. That's it's been bought up a few points. That also is the the market's expecting to be, quote unquote, the highest scoring game of the week. So we'll see about that.
And then you have the Goff return as well. I don't know. Is this game in LA? Yeah, it's in LA. So
In
you have
LA,
Goff
yep.
returning, the prodigal son that they shipped off. That's become
He's done that a
Detroit's
couple
favorite.
times now, hasn't he? He's been
Yeah,
there a couple times.
But I
so.
think it's always I don't know. I don't
Noteworthy.
remember the record. I think he's won one, maybe lost one.
Oh, so like since he's been back type of thing. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But all right, should be a good fun one though. Yeah, two teams obviously. If the Lions lose though, they're I mean, I think the Lions to win the Super Bowl futures are at like 45% value at the moment. Similar to Niners too, actually, if you can believe it. But Lions are technically out or in the hunt, I believe, right now in the playoff picture. So if they lose this one as well, then
or they win this one, right? That'll change things. Quickly,
that does. But let's hope that's the case. So, all right, sounds good, man. Four good matchups, four interesting matchups rather on deck here for week 15. So yeah, should be exciting. All right, we got one thing left to do. 6-3 giving out free plays, boys and girls. So why not? You want to do it again?
Let's do it
again. All right, as mentioned, 6-3 on free plays, 61.4% overall year to date in the NFL, 35-22. The model has been humming all year, so we've been humming on the free plays as well. If you've been tailing, hopefully you've been tailing all of them. You'd be up units for sure. So let's talk about it. What is the week 15 play of the week that we're on, Seth?
I think we landed on Houston minus 9.5, minus 110. We're really betting on Houston's elite defense here. They've been on a tear. Model really likes this play, especially at the 9.5 number. We wouldn't bet it at the 10. Market makers are all at 10 for whatever reason. The retail books they're daring you to the double dog daring you, and we are going to oblige them. So Houston minus 9.5, 110. I think you can maybe even get. Yeah, 110s are widely available.
Yeah, you can get them widely available. Yeah, so I don't know much about Houston's injury situation, but I do know a bit also about Arizona's and their starting left tackle, Pro Bowl left tackle is on the shelf now. Question marks about Marvin Harrison coming back, and I think their number 3 receiver as well. The issues are piling up, injury wise. And in other corners for Arizona too. So yeah, so this, I mean, when I saw this value, I was like, this makes a ton of sense. I'm surprised it hasn't moved to 10, but this is actually in Houston as well. And
yeah,
I do not have a ton of confidence, despite all the hype that Jacoby Brissett has gotten since he took over for Kyler Murray, has not resulted in the team's ability to win nor cover. So we're hoping the trend continues. So yeah, Houston Texans minus 9.5. Minus 110. Get it while you can, boys. Oh, all right. 4 weeks to go. Week 15 on deck, Seth. Again, we got a pretty good slate for week 15 here. We're on 5 plays officially. Yes, Houston Texans being one of them. We talked about we're also on Seattle minus 11.5, but you obviously can't get that anymore. And then a couple other we got value in the Cowboys game and the Ravens game, Niners game. So should be a fun filled it's gonna be a jam-packed weekend for sure. So looking forward to another profitable week. It's good to hang out with y'all. Thanks for the Sonny. You're welcome, man. Love to play. We love it too. That's why we're on it, baby. So let's ride. Let's cash. Week 16 on deck next week. We'll be back. Until then, good night. Good luck. We'll see you.